Bim! Guess what? It's just gone 8 o'clock. It's the 16th of the 12th, 2023, and we are back doing what a week that was. Last week I didn't do one because I was particularly ill, as in very unwell, and that kind of carried on for the whole weekend, so I didn't bother doing one at all last week. So we're going to make up for it this week, except we're not. I'm not doing American news this week. Mainly because I've not had a chance to actually look at the American news. So it's going to be the week's news without photos, hence it's saying Sunday. And then it's going to be Australian news, of which there's a few bits and pieces. And then it's going to be the and finally. So hopefully we might be able to get this knocked off in an hour or so. At least that's the plan. We love a plan. Love it when a plan comes together. Anyway. Hi Alan, welcome to the broadcast. No guns. I'm resting America for a week. God, if only we could do that in real life. That'd be genius, wouldn't it? Just get rid of America for a week. Just think of the peace and quiet we'd have. Anyway, Sunday. Not a lot went on last Sunday. It's 9 weeks since Hamas attacked Israel, and Netanyahu says that now is the beginning of the end of Hamas. Yes, and also many people in smiley, laughy face. Many people in Palestine as well. It's an absolute joke, except of course it's not funny. So that was Sunday. That was literally Sunday. It was very boring indeed. Monday was more interesting. Rishi Rich was at the COVID inquiry and defended the Eat Out to Help Out, which, if you were a follower of the channel at the time, you'll see I questioned and criticised quite a bit because I didn't actually get how Eat Out to Help Out was helping anyone without killing anyone in the meantime. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of Eat Out to Help Out. But that said, I don't work in hospitality. One of my friends does work in hospitality, and be fair, he was terrified that all these people who could be full of COVID were just being allowed in and getting a discount to be there, which was equally scary. Meanwhile, COP28, the confusion that fossil fuels being phased out in the comments had been removed. Fury from the EU. The EU was in fury about the whole thing. Israel says the US and Brits had more collateral damage than them in Gaza, as in collateral damage, civilian deaths. You know, the people they massacring, murdering, ethnic cleansing, the Israelis in the Gaza and in the West Bank as well. They are saying that, well, there was less, what was the term? Collateral damage than what we had in the Gulf War when we, as in the UK and America, invaded and killed many people in, the Middle East. Of course, I kind of agree with them on that one, because I think Blair and Bush should be in prison for war crimes, particularly over that terrible time. But to use that as an example is ridiculous. Things have moved on a lot with military since then anyway, so surely to God there is no reason to kill innocent people if you are genuinely trying to kill Hamas, which I don't have a problem with. Hamas are terrorists. They need to be obliterated, but not at the expense of the civilian population of Palestine. Anyway, Zelensky, he goes to the USA to try and get some more money, but his money fund has been blocked. $50 billion has been blocked in the Senate, I think it is, so he's not actually getting any more money. Prince Harry is ordered to pay the Daily Mail £15,000 in compensation for wrongly accusing them of doing various different things. It gets a bit complicated with Shut Up Harry, I must be honest, this week, because he pops up again later. I hate it when Harry pops up. Tuesday, the Prime Minister wins the vote on the Rwanda deal. Basically, he was saying that sending the illegal immigrants who've come over via the votes to Rwanda is the safe and justifiable thing to do. I disagree completely. We just send them back to the last safe country they came from or the country of origin. It's a lot cheaper, it's a lot easier, and it's a lot quicker. We don't put them up in hotels, we don't do anything with them, we just send them straight back to where they are. But we have to give them the right to legally apply to come here as a immigrant, and but that isn't there either. So it's but Rishi's saying that Rwanda is safe, therefore sending people to Rwanda is not against the law. Anyway, it was a very narrow margin, but still, it's worked. UN votes overwhelmingly for a ceasefire in Gaza. Now, finally, people are saying what I've been saying from day one, which is they are absolutely massacring children, women, and innocent people. Not that children and women are not innocent, you know what I mean, in Gaza as a pretense to actually killing Hamas. So the UN have voted overwhelmingly for a ceasefire in Gaza. However, there are some people who voted against it, and one of them was the United States of America, who are basically now complicit with war crimes again. I mean, they did it themselves, as we said earlier on, in the Gulf War, and now they're doing it by supporting Israel while they massacre an entire population. As I've said before, I don't understand what the difference is between using trains back in the day and using leaflets to get people to congregate in areas and then bomb them. You know, anyway, on a lighter note, hi Angela, welcome to the, what a week that was. Slightly curtailed this week because we are in a bit of a, well, I'm still sorting stuff out at the shop, so things are not going according to plan for me organising this. This is the most difficult thing I do on my channel, with the least amount of people who watch it, to be fair. But I like doing it, you see, so anyway. Zelensky is now in Washington to warn not to give money will give Putin victory if they don't continue to get the aid, which it will do, obviously. And tragic news from the barge in Kent: an asylum seeker has committed suicide on the boat, taking their own life. No further details were available, or I've heard any further details since. But yeah, tragic case there. Wednesday came along. A COP28 deal calls on all countries to reduce fossil fuel usage, but not to end fossil fuel usage, which is great for Rishi Sunak, because he's basically said that's what we're doing anyway. And as I've always argued, we need to keep the lights on, we need to keep warm, and we need to do it as a cost-effective way. So if we're surrounded by the stuff, then we use that stuff until we can get something greener to sort it out. But anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. 2 million Tesla cars need an update over their self-drive. This is after it had an update, or they had an update, and many of them started, having little accidents. I had lots of little accidents last week, but it wasn't whilst driving a car. It was whilst lying in bed trying to sleep. Anyway, it's too much information. Mark Dreyford resigns as the Welsh First Secretary. He has been the Labour leader of Wales for many years now, and he's decided it's time for someone else to take over, but he's going to hold on until they have an election and they can vote someone in who can replace him, which will be probably January, February, March next year. John Venables has had his bid for parole rescinded due to the fact that, he should be in prison for life. Not only for what he did to the young boy Jamie Bulger back in the day when he was 10, but the fact that he's been repeatedly set free and repeatedly been sent back to prison for having child pornography on his computers and things like that. Whereas the other one, he's been released but has not had any further trouble from the police or anyone, so that's quite good, really. But John Venables now is 41, and he's not actually called John Venables anymore, so because we need to protect him. Yeah, right. The Clean Air Zone in Manchester is set to be scrapped because he's now realised, because he's a Labour mayor, Andy Burnham, that people don't like clean air zones. have a look at what went on in London at the by-election, where Labour should have won, but didn't. So yes, it's all very amusing in the fact now that all of a sudden we can do it away without actually charging anyone any money, but we can still make things greener in Greater Manchester. Really? But there's no money in it for you, so why the hell would you do that? It's all to do with the B network, apparently. It's greener public transport. Also completely useless public transport, but that's another story for another day. Talking of another day, it's now Thursday. The EU membership talks have opened for Ukraine, despite some doubts whether or not they'll actually be still around as Ukraine by the time the EU decides whether or not they should join the EU. However, there's also a possibility that the EU might stop sending weapons and arms and things to the Ukrainians, which would be a disaster. Putin end-of-year extravaganza, as in Vladimir Putin. A 4-hour press conference where he answered quite a few questions, but not for any difficult ones or anything like that, obviously. He had many breaks, so one assumes the body doubles came in, because, as we've said many times before, he's dead. So to have an end-of-year press conference when you're dead is quite impressive, assuming he is dead, or one of his body doubles might be dead. But either way, Putin is talking for 4 hours. Can you imagine someone just talking for 4 hours? Absolute nonsense. Oh yeah, you're watching this, aren't you? Anyway, a young boy has been found in France. I say young boy, 17-year-old, 6 years after he disappeared on a holiday in Spain. Apparently he was kidnapped by his mother, biological mother, and his grandfather, but they had no parental rights over him, and they've possibly took him to a commune. Anyway, we don't know if it is really him or whether it's someone else, but for the family's sake, we kind of hope it is him, so at least the family can get to know their child again, who's now a young man. Whew. Must be scary, mustn't it? Oh, what have I done? What have I done? Oh yeah, I've killed it. There we go. We're on Friday now. It's only Friday. That was just today. Prince Harry wins over the tabloid papers, which is the what was the News of the World, and was it? It wasn't the Mirror Group, was it? Who was it? News International. He's won. Are you ready for this? £140,000 in compensation. I mean, that's like call, really, isn't it? But anyway, he's done that. Israel admits that they are murdering scumbags. They've even killed 3 of their own hostages. Okay, they didn't admit they're murdering scumbags. They just merely said that they accidentally shot 3 of their own people. More details to follow. This was in Gaza by mistake. But they don't show any remorse or any regret on the innocent civilians that they are slaughtering en masse at the moment. A body was found a week after the search started for Gaynor Lord, who was aged 55. She mysteriously disappeared. She left work an hour before shift ended. Was seen on various CCTVs walking around the town, and then her belongings were found intact near a river. And it was very similar to the case of Nicola Booley, who was sadly lost to a river beginning of the year. Was it January or February? And she was also found in the river a few weeks later. Well, a week later, tragically, a body has been found in the lake, and one hopes that answers are found and find out what actually happened to Gaynor. And really, really sad news. Is anyone talking? Nope, no one's talking. It's all right. So we've got Saturday. That's today, you know. Yeah, I know. Shocking. Missing teen Alex Batty to begin his return to the UK. In fact, he might even be in the UK now, although I don't think he's been reunited with his family yet. He's actually from Oldham, which isn't that far away from here. No doubt there'll be interviews and probably a movie or a TV show at some point. Israel admits that the 3 hostages their soldiers killed were actually holding and waving a makeshift white flag, which just shows the scumness of the army that Israel have. That they will literally, it doesn't matter who these people were, they had a white flag, they were stripped to the waist, they were obviously not armed, and they still shot them. They killed 2 of them instantly, and the third one managed to escape back into the building they come out of. So the Israeli army went in and killed him in the building. I mean, if these are not war crimes, murdering scumbag wankers, I don't know what is. But as far as I'm concerned, Israel deserves the wrath of God. Sorry, just getting angry that everyone's supporting Israel, and Israel is just abusing the situation. More tragic news though this week. Just keep it real. The BBC have announced that the question of sports is to be rested permanently. Well, they didn't use the word permanently. Semi-permanently. But we'll have to wait and see whether or not it is or it isn't. To be fair, I haven't watched it for years. But it's another show that Paddy McGuinness has managed to destroy. They've already got rid of Top Gear with him on it. And now he's took over Question of Sport, and they've axed that as well. Looks like Paddy McGuinness is the destroyer of TV shows. Really, really, really weird. But there you go. What can you do? Anyway, that brings us to Australia. Like I say, we're not doing America this week because I haven't had time. I'm still staying at the shop until 8, 9 o'clock at night, sorting stuff out. It's a lot of work to do. So yeah, unfortunately, we've got no America this week. But it doesn't matter because why is this not opening? What's going on? Oh, there we go. We've got Australia, mate. You all right, mate? G'day, mate. Now, this is a couple of weeks worth, to be fair. I did a bit of Australia for last week's show, so some of these are from last week, and some of them are not. Screamer Paddy. He's not that bad, Paddy McGuinness. Yeah. Anyway, would you take a pay cut to work from home is a question. A new study by the University of South Australia found that many Australian workers are willing to take a large pay cut to be able to work remotely from their homes. 1 in 5 people surveyed said that they would forego up to $24,000 a year if it meant they could work from home. $24,000 a year if it meant they could work from home? What? Now, I admit, when I was off for that year, I could live very cheaply, you know, pot noodles and things like that. And when you're working and you're in a town, you have to pay the going rate for the foods around and about. So I'm paid on average about a tenner a day for drinks and a lunch and whatever. So yeah, it would save money. I suppose if you add that up, a tenner a day, I'm there literally 7 days a week. So that's £310 a month. So that's 365 days minus 2. So that's £3,500 odd pounds that I'm spending on food and stuff in a year. Wow. I need to go on a diet. No likey, no showy. Hey Luke, good one. Like that one. We like that one a lot. It's very good indeed. Supermarkets to face Senate inquiry to investigate their market power and pricing. Now this is in Australia, so this is Coles and Woolworths. Woolworths still trading in Australia. It's a separate company, to be fair, and they are the two biggest supermarkets. So they're probably the equivalent of our Sainsbury's and Tesco. Grocery giants Coles and Woolworths will be put under a microscope as part of a Senate inquiry. The inquiry will investigate the supermarket power and pricing decisions. So basically questioning if they've hiked prices, you know, like Tesco have done, due to or took advantage of the situation and just, you know, instead of, you know, 5 or 10p on something, they put 50p or a quid on it. A lot of stuff that used to be £1 is now £1.50 at Tesco, and I think there should be an inquiry in the UK as well, that the supermarkets are cashing in on the fact that we are struggling. Gold Coast pulls bid to host 2026 Commonwealth Games. This is another of the states that was holding the Commonwealth Games in 2026. Who was saying that it's going to cost too much money, so they have now decided not to do it. Powerful 7.1 magnitude earthquake strikes the holiday island of Vanuatu. The quake struck 123 kilometres on its southernmost island just before midnight, and 338 kilometres from its capital, Port Vila. So if you're ever playing Pointless, and you ask for a capital, then there you go. Port Vila is a capital. Who knew? Ah, cute animal alert, except it's more scary than cute. Extremely rare white alligator has been born in Florida. And they put it underneath, if only they stayed this cute. I question the word cute, but anyway. An extremely rare leucistic white alligator has been born at Gatorland in Orlando, Florida, with only 8 of the reptiles believed to exist anywhere in the world. I suppose it's cute to a degree. It's like a naff Doctor Who baddie, doesn't it? Yeah, Doctor Who. Anyway. Eddie Jones set to become Japan head coach. Eddie Jones is reportedly set to be unveiled as Japan's newest coach this week, just over a month since his exit from the Wallabies. He's been down under coaching the national teams, and he's left, and he's now going to Japan. It's believed the rugby tyrant won the job over South Africa's Francis Ludik following a second interview on Thursday. Now, I'm pretty sure he was the coach at Wigan Warriors, which is why I'm mentioning it. I'll be honest, it's the other reason. I'm not actually that arsed. Well, that's a beauty, is it? No, I'm not so sure. This is cute. The Weatherman dog has a small. The Weatherman dog has a small dog couch. Is it Weatherman's dog? Should Weatherman be one? Anyway, it's not going to the grammar of this. But look, there's a little dog fast asleep on its little tiny little personal little couch. It's the cutest thing ever, isn't it? Isn't that cute? Don't you think that's cute? You want to see more of that? Look, there he is, close up of him. Ah, or her. Ah, it's beautiful. They are loving life, aren't they? I'm going down the day route now, aren't I? Oh my god, I'm becoming so PC myself. It's ridiculous. Anyway, cute dog alert is now past. We have now moved on to more exciting things, and that is, would you believe, a second-hand shop in Australia has got a class action lawsuit over worthless policies of, well, warranty policies. It's alleged that the retail giant has ripped off customers by selling them worthless extended warranties for more than a decade. The class action is seeking refunds for customers who paid for the policies. So basically, I've worked at companies like this, and you were told as a salesperson to sell the insurance. So you get 12-month guarantee with it, and we're told to sell you a 3, 5 or 10-year guarantee with it. And I always questioned it myself. This is when I was at Dixon's, and this is decades ago now, 20 years ago. And I said, what are we doing? This doesn't make sense because we don't honour these things. And they said, that's not important, you just need to sell them. So it's not a new thing. But anyway, JB Hi-Fi is being dragged through the courts. Christmas weather forecast, your state-by-state guide. With the festive season well underway, Australians can prepare to enjoy a warm few days over the Christmas period with long-range weather forecasts predicted. So look at that, they are sandballs, not snowballs. But it's still where the Christmas at. I don't understand why in Australia the snowman is a thing at Christmas, and Christmas hats are a thing at Christmas, and Father Christmas has got reindeer. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's summer. Why the hell would you even think about stuff like that? Absolute nonsense. Anyway, a lot of Australians complaining that it's going to be too warm for Christmas. Poor them. 5.3 million Aussies can't afford Christmas dinner. Well, they even have turkey and all the trimmings and pine cones and everything. It was like, what is going on with you people? I'd literally be on the beach or in my backyard in the pool or something on Christmas Day. I would not be eating a sit-down turkey dinner. Why don't they just have a, midwinter celebration of something? I don't know. The first time anyone saw a kangaroo anniversary or something. I don't know. But around 1 in 10 Aussies will need help from a charity to get by this Christmas and the growing cost of living amid the growing cost of living crisis. The Salvation Army is encouraging anybody who is struggling to reach out. The problem is you get people who are not really struggling, who reach out and get stuff that they're not really entitled to, but that depletes the amount of stuff that is available for people who are entitled to it. And that's what I really don't like about food banks, to be fair. I think some people abuse it. If you've got Netflix and Amazon Prime and Sky and internet and all this stuff. You are not poor. You could, if you're going to food banks because you're hungry, because you can't afford food, you've got money. You're wasting it in the wrong place. And people these days think they're poor if they can't buy food, but they've got to have Netflix. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. Sorry, a bit of another rant there. I do apologise. Oh no, cherry prices set to soar after the Southern Australia storms. Yes, cherries could cost Australians more in the upcoming weeks as prices soar after recent wet weather and storms in South Australia. Growers near Adelaide Hills have seen their crops wiped out during peak harvest season, the rain splitting the skin and creating mould on ripe cherries. So you see, we think we've got it hard. Well, prices of cherries could go up to $30 a punnet, which works out at about 12p. Well, maybe not. And that brings us to finally, which is the bit where I look at things that make me go, oh, or things like that. So it's things that get a reaction, things that make me go, huh? For a start, Max Verstappen is the Formula One champion again, and his records in 2023 are ridiculous. And what I like about this is they've done it in percentages, because to say that he's won more races than Ayrton Senna has in a season is obvious, because there are more races. I think when Ayrton Senna was racing there was maybe 13 races, and now there's over 20. So obviously if you're the top car and the top performing driver, you're going to win more races than Ayrton Senna or Michael Schumacher or Alan Prost or whoever. So now they're doing it as a percentage in places. So highest percentage of wins in a season, ticks. Most wins in a season, well, it's obvious, isn't it? Because it's the most races in a season. So most points in a season, well, they changed. If you're a follower of Formula One like I am, they changed the point scoring system over a decade ago. So obviously there's going to be, if there's more races and you win more races, you're going to get more points. So that's a Most consecutive wins, yeah, that's a ding. Most podiums in a season, again a bit of a most laps led in a season, that's a ding. Highest percentage of laps led in a season, ding. Most consecutive wins from pole, ding. Most wins from pole in a season, again, biggest point gap between first and second in standings. Well, to be fair, it's the point gap that they're looking at. Now, it's going to be bigger because you get more points. But also, in second place was the Checo Perez, who's a little bit, well, average, just in a good car. So, most consecutive races as championship leader. Well, that kind of makes sense as well. So, ding. Most consecutive points scored. That's difficult if you've got a full season. So, ding. Most consecutive top two finishes, ding. Most hat tricks in a season, so that's where you get the pole position, the win, and the fastest lap, and he's got most of them. Now, to be fair, fastest lap is quite a new thing, so it's not really that thing, so it's kind of a most pit stops by the winning driver in one race. Now that was, I can't remember what race it was now, but he was in the pits about 4 times. I think very changeable weather, and he still won the race. So yeah, that's a ding. And he's the only driver to win 3 times in one country, which is America. But that's because America's the only country that has 3 races in one season. So that's a So yeah, as much as I like Max Verstappen, I get his humour. A lot of people don't get his humour, but I do. Unfortunately, not all them records are worthy. So let's have a look at a Banksy, shall we? Because that always cheers me up. Yeah, there, I'm cheered up. And then let's have some of the most ridiculous stuff I've seen in the last fortnight. Lewis Hamilton is now in Fortnite. No, it gets worse. Roscoe, his dog, is also in Fortnite as well. The new Lewis Hamilton skin will hit the Fortnite store on November the 17th, so you can already play as Lewis Hamilton in Fortnite. Of course, the only people who play Fortnite haven't actually gone through puberty yet. So most of them probably won't even know who Lewis Hamilton is. But Roscoe is dog as well. I mean, what the hell is the world coming to when someone like him ends up in a game like that? Actually, no, they deserve each other. This woman always feeds this squirrel, and the squirrel returned the favour by leaving a cookie out for her. And it's a video. The squirrel in the picture. Oh, you've got an ad. Oh, hang on. But the squirrel is actually seen bringing a biscuit and putting it next to the door for the lady in thanking her for leaving food out for the squirrel. And who says that squirrels don't have a heart? Every time I see you, we have the same effect. So there you go. Squirrel brings a biscuit for a woman who leaves food out for the squirrel. What goes around comes around. Another Banksy, please. Follow Your Dreams. It's been cancelled. Yeah, that's worldwide as well. A really cute video. This is just a still from it. Just a pretty picture, really. It's a kangaroo bouncing on water. Yeah, told you. It's obviously it's very shallow water. It's not like, you know, Christ resurrected as a kangaroo or anything daft like that. It's just a really cool picture and a really cool video as well. Another one of my favourite drivers is Alonso, and this is what he's looked like when they've been bringing out games on Grand Theft Auto. This is how long he's been around for. So before he was in Formula 1, Grand Theft Auto 3, before he was in Formula 1, Grand Theft Auto 4, by the time the Grand Theft Auto 5 come out, he'd been racing in, I think he was in Formula 1 in Grand Theft Auto 4. But he definitely was for 5, and he still is for the announcement of 6. Whether he will be when 6 actually comes out or not, I've no idea. Let's have a look at a Banksy. Last graffiti before the motorway. Genius. Another Banksy. It's just a rat-infested toilet, but a Banksy rat-infested toilet. That's nice. And this is definitely me every morning. Me calculating the last possible second I can get out of bed and still make it to work on time. Bad news is, I still haven't got it sorted yet. It's still about 10 or 15 minutes behind. So I need to get out of bed 10 or 15 minutes earlier than I do every day. But yeah, that's not happening. A nice nativity picture there of the wall between the West Bank, between Gaza and Israel. And baby Jesus. In Australia, always check the toilet before you sit down, because sometimes there might be a python in there. I must admit, I've left the toilet a few times and there's been a python in there then. Not recently though. No. In Finland we have one-person benches because we don't like getting close to other people. I love that. I think that should catch on. I think we should have them dotted around as well in the UK, just for the people who want to sit on their own without getting some nutter sitting next to them chatting about stuff or doing drugs or drinking extra strong cider out of a carrier bag. Yeah, I like them. I like that a lot. Pringles. Tesco shoppers can snap up half-price Pringles just in time for Christmas. The countdown for Christmas is on with just 10 more sleeps until the big day. Now here's the ultimate offer which Brits must stock up on, and it involves Pringles, except it doesn't, because Pringles is like eating cardboard that's gone off. I used to eat cardboard when I was a kid. Yeah. A man 88 with World War II shell shoved up his bum sparks bomb squad arrival at hospital. An elderly man shocked medical staff after they discovered a World War I era bomb lodged in his rectum, prompting an evacuation of a hospital, with employees saying they'd seen nothing like it before. I slipped. I don't know how would you explain that. Ex-Met police boss calls for chemical castration of pedos like John Venables. Ex-Met police detective Chief Inspector Mike Neville described Venables as evil personified and said he believes he and others like him should be chemically castrated. I think if you are a repeat offender, that should definitely be a thing for all kinds of offences, to be fair. Not just child offences, but just offences in general that are sexually orientated. But I don't think we should do it to everyone all the time. I think it should be one of those things. I've heard of explosive episodes from the backside, but that takes it up a level. To be fair, Luke, I knew all about them last week. Oh my god! It's nice to be able to fart without panicking. That's all I'm saying. Christmas Day weather chaos. Map shows a 1,000 kilometre storm with heavy snow and rain. A white Christmas looks likely for millions of Brits as weather maps show a 1,000 kilometre wide storm bringing heavy snow and torrential rain for most of the festive day of the year. Now, we get this every year, don't we? And then when it comes, it's either a beautiful dry day or it's just wet. But anyway, we may get a white Christmas, that'd be nice. Couch potatoes warn their sofas are crushing their IQs and making them thick. No, what's happening is couch potatoes, who just sit on the couch all day, are getting thick because they're eating and not exercising, and they're just getting thick. I mean, I'm getting thick as well, but apparently they are saying now that it's the chemicals in the sofa that are making their brains rot away, which is absolute nonsense. Oh, Trump, we've not had him. Trump comb over makes a dreaded return as balding blokes turn to desperate do. A survey found out concerning portion of men adopting Donald Trump's infamous comb over to bid cover up thinning tops. More than half of blokes receding or bald. I don't know, I can't comment on that. Jackie Charlton, Bobby Charlton, the guy from the Hamlet advert. Baby serial killer Lucy Letby stripped of nursing credentials. I mean, shouldn't that just be a given? I mean, it's months ago that she was accused and then found guilty and then sentenced, and they've only now took away her nursing credentials. Sainsbury's shopper gets a leg of lamb for just 5p, and Brits are left baffled. Yes, because it says 10p on it. So how did they do that? That's my question. Oh, here he is, Harry. Harry and Meghan will divorce, and this is where the kids will go, says a psychic. So it must be true. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's relationship is constantly picked over by the public, and now a psychic couple reckon it could be coming to an end. But what will happen to the kids? Well, it's up to the family, isn't it? Not us. David Icke promises to meet a daughter in another realm after tragic death. Not of David Icke, just to clarify. That would be weird. No, sadly, Kerry Icke, daughter of conspiracy theorist David Icke, has passed away at the age of 48. And he said that they would meet again in another realm. Now, David Icke used to be a weatherman back in the day. I think it was when Breakfast Telly first came up along in the 80s, 90s. And then he just went mad. And then someone says, you're like David Icke. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't come out with absolute nonsense about aliens and stuff like that. So, hey, don't worry, Angela. It's a brief one anyway today. Nice to see you. Look after yourself. Meanwhile, space boffins plot to send a 11,000 mile an hour rocket to Mars without any brakes. So basically they're going to crash into Mars. European Space Agency chiefs are researching aero capture for use in future missions. The strategy will see spaceships launch without a way of stopping themselves. I mean, yeah, it doesn't seem like a waste of money at all, does it? A woman tracks down 77 siblings after finding out dad was a prolific sperm donor. A woman who thought she was an only child until the age of 20 has tracked down 77 siblings after discovering her dad was a sperm donor, and she reckons there could be still more out there. Can we see a family resemblance in all these people? No, but I suppose the mums are different. Sperm donation is good in one way, but it's a bit weird in another way as well, isn't Putin's favourite newspaper sees deputy editor-in-chief, aged 35, die suddenly. Vladimir Putin's favourite newspaper has suffered a suspicious death, with deputy editor-in-chief Anna Tzver found dead of heart failure by her father in her Moscow apartment. So I wonder what she's done to upset Putin. Christmas tree so pathetic, locals have started adding their own baubles. Residents of a UK town have branded the Christmas tree put up outside their local shopping centre pathetic and have taken matters into their own hands by adorning it with their own baubles. Which I think that's a nice Christmas spirit, isn't it? Maybe that's what they were going for all along. A pensioner mows a man down with a mobility scooter after he bought the last pasty. A furious pensioner was filmed running down a bloke with his mobility scooter after the bloke had reportedly purchased the last pasty from a local bakery in Bideford in Devon. Well, yeah, deserved everything he got, that guy. Fancy buying a pasty. Unbelievable. A couple of weeks ago I went to get some chicken wings and a woman in front of me was buying some for her daughter and it left 2 chicken wings at Clunes. I said, oh, I'll have them 2 chicken wings. She said, oh, there's 2 left, I'll have them. A hilarity and things ensued. I spat my dummy out, I smacked her in the face and I walked off. Except for the smacking in the face and walking off. And hilarity. I basically had no chicken wings. Saw myself to sleep that night. James King. Hope you're good. It's in the Grand Arcade. UK school sees cases of highly contagious and deadly Victorian disease confirmed. That's right, rickets is back. No. Parents have been given an urgent advice after a case of the potentially deadly disease diphtheria was confirmed at a primary school in Luton, with the person affected said to be recovering well. Diphtheria. Welcome to the Victorian age. You've got to be proud of our government, haven't you? So good. Imagine it's going to be worse when Labour get in. That's what's scary. Putin breaks silence on body double rumours after facing off against a creepy AI. Vladimir Putin was posed a number of questions in a QA session today and was forced to address rumours he uses body doubles after being confronted by a creepy AI version of himself. He denied it and asked himself to come out and prove that there's only 2 of him. No, I'm joking. Tesco recalls Christmas dinner essential due to possible presence of moths. Now, bits of glass I can cope with, bits of rubber I can cope with, the odd blue plaster I can cope with. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't eat any of these products. But how do moths get into apple and cranberry stuffing? It's from their Finest range as well, with a sell-by date of September 2024. And people have been told if you bought it, take it back, because it might have moths in it. Now, one could say that maybe this is forward thinking by Tesco, because if they put moths in the food, you're adding protein into the food with very little environmental impact on the planet. And it could be the way forward. So maybe rather than getting people to eat kebabs made of on skewers of cockroaches or grasshoppers covered in chocolate or whatever, just add insects to ingredients. You know, like they do with that. Let's hide carrots and peas for the kids in the burgers. So the kids eat the burgers, but they're actually there's vegetables in there as well, but you can't see them. Maybe that's the only way we're going to get people to eat insects. So maybe in years to come, this will be considered a breakthrough. Either that, or I'm just talking absolute looks. Yeah, I'm talking absolute looks. Saudi prince booked out 80 seats on a public flight for his killer falcons. You never know what quite to expect when getting on a plane, but we bet that in a million years you wouldn't have expected to meet 80 killer birds, each with their own individual seats. So yeah, 80 birds of prey. Right, questions. 1, why would you have 80 birds of prey, even if you are rich? 2, why would you want to put them all on a plane? If you can afford 80 of these things, then surely to God you can afford a private plane to take them somewhere. 3, why the hell are you taking birds on a plane anyway? That makes no sense. They've got wings. Just tell them where to fly to. They'll do it for free. Yeah. Meanwhile, sex doll maker accidentally recreates Total Recall's three-breasted woman. Now, if you've ever seen the original and best Total Recall, the one with Arnie in it, there's a bit where they're in the, I suppose you call it a strip joint or a bar, and there are prostitutes around, and one of them has got three boobies. And the guy who you think's a friend, spoiler, he's not, says, "You make me wish I had three hands, lady." And where's that effect? It was yeah. Anyway, Elsie Babe Doll, a China-based company, shared images on X, formerly Twitter, of their new model, which boasts a very striking chest area. I'm not going to show it you, but yeah, basically it's got three bosoms. I'm not looped either, just to clarify. Ghosts told us to cough from a haunted Victorian site once home to 250 nuns. A team of paranormal investigators, aka attention seekers, because it's all bullshit, got a shock when they visited spirits at the supposedly haunted convent in Malvern, Worcestershire, as they were told to cough and get out. No, they weren't, because ghosts don't exist. If someone told them to cough, it wouldn't be nuns either, because nuns don't use that kind of language. Have you ever heard a nun can swear? I don't think so, yucker. So no, they're just trying to get attention and get famous. And I've given publicity, but I've not said who they are, other than they are complete twonks. So I'm happy that I'm not giving any publicity. Happy Little Boy 3 beaten to pulp by babysitter because he cried, and he's fighting for his life. Noah Brown, 3, was happy and full of life before his babysitter. 12-year-old babysitter beat him unconscious with a belt for crying, and now he's on life support in hospital. Who leaves a baby with a 12-year-old to babysit? This is the fault of the parents of the child. You do not leave a baby with a 12-year-old. I'm having none of it. Very good. That's a none thing. Boffins issue urgent snow warning as eating fresh flakes could be deadly. Right. So why are we not all dead? Because we've all eaten snow coming out of the sky at some point in our lives. With fresh flakes set to fall in the coming days, it might be tempting to take a bite into that clean, crisp snow. But experts have warned that you should avoid tasting the white stuff. No, you should avoid tasting the yellow stuff. And if it's coming out of the sky, you're more than likely okay. If it's been on the floor for an hour and a half, then yeah, don't eat that either. It's just called common sense, or maybe natural selection. Right, this is a weird story. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I mentioned him earlier, Total Recall, was one of the youngest bodybuilders ever when he first started doing bodybuilding, Mr. Universe and all that. In fact, he lived on this very estate I'm on, in Wigan. Look it up if you don't believe me. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Wigan, in the 60s. He lived in Wigan and literally around the corner from me whilst he was becoming famous. And his record has now been broken by this young man. The legendary Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodybuilding record smashed by a teen after 57 years. So you look at that guy there and you think, what the heck is going on? There are some major issues in that head, and maybe people need to talk to him, because a couple of years ago he looked like that, which is like a normal teenager. Anton Rashny stunned the world by breaking a record held by Arnold Schwarzenegger by becoming the youngest man to become a professional bodybuilder, and it took him just 4 years to do it. So he's gone from that, which is a normal teenager, to that, which looks like steroids on acid. And look at these lines under his eyes. Never mind the neck. I mean, that is not good for you, doing that kind of thing that quick. Sadly, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm reporting in a couple of years' time that he's passed away. He was dating Miss UK, who lived up the road on the corner. Well, there you go then. Arnold Schwarzenegger, not this teenager. Talking of death, sadly, Steve Halliwell, everyone knows him as Zach Dingle, has passed away aged 77. I've watched quite a lot of Emmerdale recently, whilst I was not working. Obviously not watched hardly any of it since, but he disappeared for a while and then reappeared again. But he was obviously very frail. He was always kind of sat down and didn't have many lines or anything, so we knew he was severely ill. But sadly this week has passed away. Meanwhile, there's panic and terror as a massive shark is filmed swimming off the coast of UK, and the public are horrified. We are horrified. Members of the public were perplexed by a strange sighting after what is believed to be a massive shark was spotted swimming in the waters of Penzance Promenade. Now, it's in the water, you're on the land. As long as you stay on the land, the shark can do whatever it wants. And to be fair, if you get in the water with the shark, that's your own fault. You deserve what you get. Natural selection. Also, it could be just someone in a wetsuit with one of them pretend fish fins on its back, like they had in Jaws. Yeah. Absolutely horrified. No. It's got every right to be there. We're the ones invading its area. And then France has suddenly got this fixation with Prince George. They've dubbed him the next James Bond, which makes no sense because James Bond is not a prince in any way. And French media have gushed over the self-assured prince. He's going to be the king one day. They train them from a very early age not to pick their nose and eat it, not to flick peas across a table, and not to scratch their nether regions in public. But the French are obsessed. French media have gushed that Prince George of the Wales family, a Christmas portrait describing the young future king as a budding James Bond, an apprentice gentleman. Well, yes, he is an apprentice gentleman. He's also an apprentice king as well. Here's another stupid story. Elf child star completely unrecognisable in new career after quitting Hollywood. Daniel Tay was 12 years old when he played Buddy's half-brother in Elf, but vanished from Hollywood after starring in the hit festive film and now leads a very different life. Now, Elf, I've never seen it. I know of it. And this young man was 12 years old. And now he's completely unrecognisable than he was when he was 12 years old, some 10, 15, 20 years later. He looks like that now. Of course he's unrecognisable. He's not a child anymore. He is a grown man. That's what happens. You grow up and become unrecognisable. A baby who was sucked out of house by killer tornado has been found alive in a tree. A baby who was catapulted out of his home by the killer tornado was later found alive in a tree, gently placed in its branches, like an angel guided him safely to that spot. No, it's just chance, but it's bloody good show, definitely. The potato phone's back in action. Oh, hey-oh. I'm a mum, and parents should get their kids' consent to sit on Santa's lap. Mum Katie Love has urged parents not to force the kids to sit on Santa's lap and say they should seek consent. She spotted daughter Adi Martin, who's 3, was nervous while queuing to see Santa. It's nervous excitement. For a start, I wasn't even aware you could still sit your child on Santa's knee. I thought they had to sit on a chair next to Santa these days, for obvious reasons. Rolf Harris, hey, do you know what it is yet? But to tell people that they have to get consent from a 3-year-old to go and see Santa, I mean, come on. Jesus Christ, some people. But it gets worse. Living Nostradamus. No. Living attention seeker. with, to be fair, very epic cheekbones, claims AI will contact the dead next year in an eerie prediction. So AI will contact the dead. How? The living Nostradamus, Ethos Salome, says in the very near future, the very near future holds the key for humans to gain the ability to be able to communicate with those who are no longer with us. Yeah, I wish he was no longer with us. He's a living Nostradamus. I wish he was a dead one and then see if he could communicate with us. Biggest solar flare in 6 years could knock out power on Earth, boffins warn. So it's the biggest one in 6 years, which means 6 years ago we had a bigger one. Nothing happened. Why are we panicking about this one? It's the biggest solar flare in 6 years, and it's already sparked 2-hour radio blackouts across South America and could cause further chaos across the world, scientists have warned. Could happen, maybe, possibly. I tell you, the biggest flares I ever saw were the ones my mum bought me from the catalogue once when I was about 14. They were like sails off a yacht, and when I walked they literally flapped in the wind. If I'd led down, I could have done an impression of the Mersey tunnels, because there were two of them, one in and one out. Could have got a bus in there. There were flares. I mean, Jesus, the biggest solar flares. No, they were flares. I could have made 15 pair of jeans that would fit me now out of those things. Oh, you'll grow into them. I wore them once. Nearly killed myself. I don't have any 2-pack movies in the shop. No, sorry, James. And meanwhile, this is it. This is the end. But, life lesson. Do not tell this guy any secrets, because he will only go and... I'll let you figure that one out. I shall have a swig of my drink. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. So have you figured it out yet? That's right. If you keep telling me secrets, he's only going to go and spill the beans. Spill the beans. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So that is it for the and finally bit. But now we've got the very exciting breaking news bit, which is where we look at the news that is breaking while we've been on air. Full list of Boots and Homebase stores closing for good. Is your local on the list? No idea. Lesser known lung cancer symptom in arm or shoulder that can't be ignored. Alright, okay, brilliant. Tesco, Asda, Morrison, Sainsbury's issue do not eat warnings over tins and offer money back. Of tins of what? No, clickbait. I don't clickbait. 3 F1 teams confirm name changes as Lewis Hamilton left proud of Toto Wolff. I don't know why. Toto Wolff's an absolute monster. Sky News presenter evacuated from studio during live broadcast. Belmont school closure. Devastated pupils left with no school to attend in the new year. Oh dear. Empty stores at Middlesbrough shopping centre gutted in huge revamp. Channel 4 axes 2 popular shows as broadcaster continues programme cuts. We already mentioned that the BBC have axed this year Top Gear and the other Paddy McGuinness showboat, which is Question of Sport. Jenson Button announces shock return to professional racing. Euston Station is a petri dish of chaos, say furious passengers. A station is rammed with seething passengers trying to get home for Christmas. As train bosses admit, it's not our fault. It's the staff are on holiday. Why would you put staff on holiday at the busiest period of the year? Boots owner considering sale of company. Putin's train hit by blast in sabotage attack. Oh, let's hope he was on it, or one of them at least. Urgent food recall as Tesco, Asda and Sainsbury's pull popular tin foods from their shelves. We didn't tell you who it is. Martin Brundle sets Lewis Hamilton target as grid walk snub reason. Yeah, it's Martin Brundle. Martin Brundle, who does the Formula One stuff, is an absolute loon. And if I was an F1 driver, I wouldn't talk to him. I'd just punch him in the face. Israelis urge government to act now on hostages rather than just killing them, I suppose. Hostile states will drive migrants to the UK and destabilise the West, warns Sunak. Well, they're already doing that. That's what they're doing. That's the whole point of this thing, is get migrants to come to different countries, and then we've got the enemy within. Not all of them, but some of them are here for reasons that we don't know yet, and they will fight for whatever cause they're given, which isn't necessarily to save us from whatever is going to happen in the future. Yeah, see, I know all this stuff, me. Kuwaiti leader dies, aged 86. Danger to life warning as Scotland braced for flooding and landslides. Gaynor Lord search no third party involvement in death of woman found in the river, which is even sadder, really. If someone gets to that stage, I've been there. I've been on a motorway bridge at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not a good place to be, but I stayed on the road side of the bridge, and I made to tell the story. But yeah, horrendous if people end up doing stuff like that. What else is going on? Oh, Victorian illness fears sweep across city after super spreader visits multiple schools. Oh, great. So someone who's got, what was it we were on about before? Not herpes. I forgot what it was now. But yeah, apparently someone's been super spreading it around the schools in London. What could possibly go wrong? And that's it for the breaking news. So big shout out to Alan Barton, Angela O'Kane, Luke Williams. Who else have we had on today? James King. Any DVDs, as long as they are not scratched to death, I take into the shop. So it's only a short one today. That's what she said. An hour. I said about an hour, didn't I? We've had 5 likes. We've had 24 views altogether, which isn't bad in an hour. And lots of people are at parties and things like that. Highest number of views we had was 10 at any one time. We've got 6 at the minute. And I think that's it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. Big shout out to T as well, hope you're good. And we will see you all again in the near future. And as I get more done at the shop, I'll have more time to do more preparation for this. So this might be like this now until the end of the year, because it seems to work. It takes the pressure off me. Not having to look for photographs and not have to do loads of different bits and pieces. But hopefully we'll get America back in again soon, so we can take the mickey out of them because they're all fucking idiots. Anyway, thank you again for watching, if indeed you still are. And I'll be seeing you. Until then, bye! Let silences on her because she's outside. I'm still here.